Live from Jefferson City, it's the This Week in Missouri Politics Midweek Update with Scott Faughn.
Welcome in to the first midweek update. Is this the first one? No.
Yeah.
No, this is the second one of
First
20.
one was the awards, yeah.
First one of the legislative session, let's say that. Pre-session, joined by Jake Croson. Jake, thank you for making the time.
Always happy to be here.
And Kelton Turner, the guy that tried to weasel himself into a win in the Music City Bowl that he did not deserve. Kelton, Happy New Year.
Oh, Happy New Year.
Let's dig in. So we did our 2024 awards. Okay, did you? I assume you have to agree the top investigation was
definitely.
Kelton Mines Invest. Yes, I think
I don't
that's
think
clear.
there's anything better.
Then Legislator of the Year. How do you top Rick Bratton?
I don't think you do.
I mean, he totally flipped off everyone, and they jumped through hoops to do what he wanted.
Yeah,
that's legit senating. I mean, awesome work by him. Talked about the FRA. Talked about. I thought his landfill bill. When you get the Missouri Senate to adjourn and go into session as the planning and zoning for Cass County, that's an amazing feat, but I don't want to belabor the point.
And if you get the Republican Party to move from being pro-free market to I'm going to tell businesses what to do,
yes,
that's pretty impressive.
Well, yes, if the Republicans are nothing if not total hypocrites. Then Campaign of the Year. This is where I think different people could... I went with Andrew Bailey. Let's break this down. I think when Aaron and I, we should have broke it down statewide legislative. Mm-hmm. Statewide, I think Kehoe was incredible. Total hat tip to him. Vivek Malik, tip of the cap. Wassinger coming in and buying that damn thing. Yeah. I thought was pretty good work. Denny out hustling. But I think, they were running against Missourians.
Yep.
Andrew Bailey was running against New York and Washington, D.C. elites and whooped their ass.
Yeah, I think for statewide, it would easily have to be Bailey.
I just think people don't quite comprehend, Denny Haas is running against Dean Plocker, who is a Missourian raising money here. I mean, Andrew basically went to Wall Street and put a boot up their ass. Mm-hmm. But now state Senate primaries, and I guess you could throw generals in there too. Although I don't know a general that was like, oh wow, that was amazing. That shouldn't have happened. I think
a general that was pretty good was Bill Allen's. I thought that was one that everybody, you go to the district, it's definitely very democratic there, but Bill Allen's just the kind of dude who can pull off a win there, and I think that was pretty impressive.
Do you know who called that from the jump?
Who?
Noel Torpy.
Noel
Torpy was 1,000,000% on board saying Bill Allen's going to win that the whole time.
Yeah.
From the jump.
Yeah, I think if anybody could have done that, it would have been Bill Allen.
So. That was a good one. Mm-hmm. I've got to say, when you talk about races that were won that could have went a different way, I would throw Curtis Gregory.
Yeah,
he could have his race could have went the opposite way. Jamie Berger, that race had the potential to go the opposite way. Mm-hmm. But I think the best state senate race had to be Brad Hudson.
Yeah, I think Hudson did a pretty impressive win. I mean, Travis Wilson he's a really great guy to talk to. He's super fun to talk to. When you get a couple drinks in him, you talk about school choice or something. He's the only person that can make it entertaining. But
Travis Smith is a great dude. I do think though you could have made a case that Doug Ritchie was the front runner or that Curtis Gregory was.
Yeah,
I think the metrics showed Curtis Gregory from my personal observation from the tip sheet. But I think with Jamie Berger that there was some parts of that race that was competitive. But I think you could have said both of them. You could have made a case they were the front runner. I don't think you could have made a case Brad was the front runner when that race started.
No.
But he hustled it and he ended up winning. And I think that might be my pick for the top state legislative campaign. So Bailey and Hudson sounds like a law firm together. Now let's talk about going into tomorrow. But first, Whispering Gallery. Back, hardcore.
Yep.
Did a great job. I've heard nothing but rave reviews.
That's what I'm hoping to hear.
If you have information for the Whispering Gallery, please send it to Jake Croson. You can find him on social media, internet, and if you text me, I'll send you his number.
Yep.
Mine's 573-429-5770. We can't put his out. We have chicks and stuff bugging him. You just send it to me, and I'll connect it. Kelton, big show this week. As we do the first show of the new year, we will have on Doug Beck, not the flat one, the 3D Doug Beck, Ashley Awney, John Patterson, and Cindy O'Laughlin. You ready to do? We got new cameras, right?
They're looking pretty stellar.
Okay, Kelt, if we do another midweek update, we might do one tomorrow, right? I say we do one tomorrow afternoon, after the vote and all that. But then next Tuesday, can we have a new logo then?
I'm sure we can.
You're all getting to sit in here on the staff meetings we have live, but it's actually what it's like over at that conference table. So let's looking forward. Okay, I think Mike Kehoe's coming in here. Got his staff. I was a little surprised, not that he hired Trish Vincent, veteran Republican, very well respected. A little surprised Wayne's leaving.
That I think that's the one thing that from Kehoe's administration that's come out so far that was a little, surprising to see, considering that they were good friends in the Senate.
That one was a little surprising. Trish Vincent, though, is not, a very qualified person for the post. I thought it was interesting, served very closely with Ashcroft, and was a Blunt person, then went over to the Ashcroft. Maybe it was an Ashcroft, then Blunt, then now coming over into the Kehoe. It's cool that Roy Blunt's swearing him in on Monday.
Yeah.
It's going to be ridiculous cold, huh?
Yeah, I hope they offer complimentary coats or something, maybe some heated blankets here and there.
Yeah, I don't know. The only person in these scenarios, there's only one person that really matters, and it is the only person that has a great view of this is Betsy Avishon or Betsy Ledgerwood across the street. The Supreme Court building has a great view of the inauguration, and they have heaters that are going that are on during it. Then let's talk about what'll be the big vote tomorrow.
Yeah.
Justin Sparks, lots of Facebook posts, several central committees. I saw he's claiming half the population central committees want the legislature to vote for him.
Yeah. But oddly enough, according to some people, he hasn't even spoken to the legislator, which is an interesting strategy if you're going to try to win the speaker's race, is to talk to everybody but the person who votes.
If you know me, you know I hate leadership races. They're just insanely personal. They're awful. It's drudgery. It sucks because there's no differences, right? In you're running. If there is, there's very small differences. If you're running for leadership on the Republican side, the Democrats had majorities and they were varied, right?
Yeah.
The Democrats having different majorities were, they had Danny Stables and Lacey Clay in the same party. So maybe leadership could matter somewhere. The Republican Party today is all pretty much lockstep on everything.
Yeah.
So it is the leadership is, they're just really personal races. Now, this one, I would say, if I had to guess, Patterson he went through the system that people have went through. Sparks got a wild hair, decided to run after the election. If he'd have went through the normal paces, I think we'd be talking about 15, 20 votes here, right?
Yeah.
If he would have ran in the designee race, or if he would have at that time they were having the speaker designee race, said, "Hey, I want to do this a year from now." I could see him putting together 15, 20 votes. Now, I do not know the House as well as the Senate. Jake would know the House far better than me. But I would say you got. I would put it. In the Whispering Gallery that I read where you wrote it was plus or minus 5 votes.
Yeah.
You think so? So not everyone runs a gambling enterprise like Kelton does.
I had Kelton help me with the odds there.
Yeah. So you've got obviously Sparks. Let's just count them out. You have Sparks. I don't know what Maisie Boyd would do. I know her somewhat. She seems to be
sympathetic.
Sympathetic. So maybe you count her as 2. I don't know this person. He just recently got elected, but Burton Whaley, who replaced Brad Hudson down in Stone County, has apparently publicly said he's voting for Sparks. So that's 3. Then maybe Bob Titus. He kind of likes to be that rusty nail. Bob Titus might be your 4th.
Yeah.
Then your fifth, maybe you've got Adina Self.
Yeah, who replaced, what was
She defeated Tony Vasquez.
That's right, yeah. She replaced Tony, or possibly Melissa Schmidt, who replaced...
So you probably Self more... So that's 5 to 6.
Yeah.
So if you have to bet today and you take the over-under at 5.5, where are you going?
I'm going to go with 5 and below, I think.
Yeah, I think I'm with you on that.
I think it's going to be that. I think he had the pot, like, if he had taken this strategy, I thought the max he could get is maybe 10. But I think with everything coming closer, I think it's going to be below 5 or below.
I think 10 would have proven something. I think 10 would have been a substantial group that would have had to been reckoned with. I think with 5, it's just essentially an attention-gathering thing. And I think, it won't be a joke because Representative Sparks has some talent. But I don't think it's going to be I think it'll be something that if you only get 5 out of 111, I mean, that's, it's very easy to marginalize half a dozen House members.
Yeah.
That marginalize themselves.
Yeah.
I do think, I do think this, though. Coming out of this, I'm not sure what he might have gotten what he actually wanted, which is buckets of attention.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Definitely online in the Facebook crowds, he's definitely gotten some attention there.
Yeah. And if a guy, that's where I think some of these folks who, some of these central committees and what have you, I felt a little bad because I think maybe this is an attention-getting thing, not a serious run at a leadership race.
Yeah.
And some of these folks burnt bridges, and I'm not sure there was ever an attainable goal or seriously really looked out for, in a serious way to attain.
Unless you're the Jackson County group, then you're always willing to throw away your chance to have somebody from your side of the state be in charge.
Well, your people, man. What the hell?
We certainly have not learned anything from Pendergast when it comes to actually gaining power.
Wow. I mean, that's the one of the dumbest things of 2024. The Jackson County Central Committee deciding, no, we suck. We'd rather have a St. Louisan than a person from Jackson County. I'm like, I don't even know. You just shake your head. You're like, this is serious. But it turns out, the Central Committees, Missouri, can I talk to you for a second? Missouri, listen to me. Being on the Central Committee is a great honor. I think I was on a Central Committee once.
I've heard it's not a bad job. I heard you can do
some.
You can do really.
You can't do any of this stuff.
I've been told by a couple people you
Someone's
can do some
Someone's
real things
lying
there.
Right to your face.
Probably,
you can do nothing real.
Probably are.
I think it's this. And this is the old dichotomy, and maybe I'm wrong, and maybe it's different in the big city, but generally you get elected, right? And if you're running for office, you think the Central Committee is there to help you.
Yeah.
But oftentimes, the Central Committee views it as you're there to help them with the chicken dinner and raise money for them and do things.
Yep.
The Central Committee is not really there to help you get elected. And it has taken a sharp turn, both parties.
Maybe it's more the suburban Central Committees are like that. I'm not too familiar with the rural
people are quite problematic,
ones, but
I'm not going to lie.
Who knows? Maybe rural Missouri is much better when it comes to treating their representatives right when it comes to their central committees than suburban.
I mean, to me, it's like, do you want to be helpful and see success, or do you want to just get attention to be a pain in the ass? The big ones, it is what it is. The rural ones, I mean, look, I think it's I listened to, I think, was it Ann Kelly? Might have been Ann Kelly. Gave a very good speech to her central committee about, hey, you trust me to go vote.
I think it was, actually. Yeah.
I vote very conservatively, as you like. I'm telling you, this is the right way to get things done and the way we can succeed. And if you don't want to, if you want to be on board, be on board. If not, I get it.
Yeah.
I think I liked her speech. Now, and I don't even know what the committee did. They may have listened to her speech and said, forget it, I'm voting for this. But I thought it was the best articulated defense from a legislator I've heard so far. It was, hey, look, I hear you. I get it. I'm doing my part, and I'm telling you, to get where we want to go, this is the better way to get there. I thought it was a very good thing. Now, here's my thing. I'm not as big a believer as, you shouldn't run for speaker. I think if Justin Sparks or Jeff Vernetti whoever wants to run for speaker, it's their right.
Yeah.
They're an elected official. Good for them. Look, John Patterson won the designee race. I assume some people gave him their word they'd vote for him and all that, and great. And you shouldn't go back on your word. But the problem with all this, I thought, is when he come out of the gate saying it's somehow the FBI should investigate HRCC for winning races, and that everybody was corrupt and it's the swamp. Then it comes out. Now, look, I think the swamp is a term. Listen to me, Missouri. When someone says the swamp, they think you're very, very dumb. They think you are stone dumb. The swamp is what you call people that don't agree with you.
Yep.
That's it.
Yeah.
It's like a rhino. A rhino is just a Republican that doesn't agree with another Republican.
Yep.
On whatever meaningless, trivial thing. The fact of the matter is this: there's a if you bite on the rhino or on the swamp thing, you're dumb. You're gonna bite on something else stupid anyway. Just give yourself time.
I've got some beachfront property to sell you somewhere.
Yeah, and I saw the Herzog Foundation put out a thing about how he had asked for money for cops to have daycares, which I think is a great program and a great idea. And I just think it's the kind of if you're going to have a government and it's going to do things besides roads and schools, this is a very innovative thing that I think makes it makes St. Louis better and safer, which therefore helps the state of Missouri. There is a definite reaction to how safe St. Louis is to how many tax dollars there are to spend in St. Clair County. And I hope that program does not become a problem. But in that the group that runs the program hired Representative Sparks. I actually don't know what he does for a living. I guess he works for this group. But it is a little bit problematic, I would say. Even people that don't run around and call people names and say swamp and all this. If you're actually getting paid by a group you're advocating for in the legislature, that's I'm not one to say, oh, that's corrupted, but it is a little it makes you calling other people the swamp seem pretty hypocritical. Yeah,
I think if John Patterson was in the same position, I think some people would certainly be calling that corrupt or, throwing some fits about possible illegalities and stuff like that. But
well, I just think when you go into that, it's like in an argument somebody starts referencing Hitler and calling you Hitler.
Yeah.
It's like when they started calling Trump Hitler, I'm like, okay, is anybody believing this? It's one of those things. When you start saying the word swamp, I'm like, oh, here we go. You've lost the argument, so here we do now. And it's usually people that are, I check me, folks. Again, I'm not going to say Representative Sparks is the swamp. However, I will say this. In my sizable gut, in my multiple years observing this, when someone says the swamp, it is usually the swampiest people in the room saying things like the swamp.
Yeah.
I very seldom see true elected officials that have no swampness about them yelling about the swamp. And here's the you want to hear the real truth? The truth is legislators have to make a living. And legislators have to get reelected, and they want to move up like everybody in every field, and that takes money. And if you're saying money is the swamp, well, okay, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
So looking forward, you're taking 5.5 as your line. You're saying probably Melissa Schmidt doesn't vote.
Yeah, maybe not that one. I'm not too sure about.
I guess we should have an asterisk, Kelton, for the show Sunday. Maybe Patterson.
Yes.
I think we're good. I think we're good with the graphic. Don't change the promo. I think we're gonna be fine. And I watched a couple of his videos, and I watched his latest one this morning, and it kind of acted like he,
Yeah, towards the end there, it definitely sounded like
I was talking to somebody from Washington, which is not swampy at all. But the Washington person was like, hey, in Texas, somebody ran against a speaker, and he got trounced.
Yeah.
Then they came back and elected a new one. And all that, look, I mean, here's the thing. If Justice Sparks were to win, we would cover the House pretty much the same. If that does set off a string of people attacking Alex Riley, I mean, okay, that's. I think I have a big. I believe that elected officials should get a lot of leeway to do the things they feel are right. And if you feel what's right is to attack the new floor leader, well, I mean, okay. But I could tell he almost kind of knew, right? He had accepted the fact that this isn't going to work out. which is good. You don't want to. I've seen people walk into legislative chambers thinking they have victories and walk out the other way, and it's kind of hard to react to. But and also look how he handles it. My assumption is the committee assignments next week will not be favorable to the gentleman saying everybody should go to prison. But my take is how do you handle that defeat?
Yeah.
Do you just bounce off and go total attention whore, look at me all the time, or do you kind of shake it off and chart a middle path? It'll be interesting to see what he does. I mean, that's the thing about politics. Your victories and your defeats are very public.
Yep. But
I'm not sure this was ever about getting votes to be speaker. I think this was about getting attention. And on that, while it may be it's possible he does go 106-5 tomorrow. I think he went 10 on 10 in getting attention.
No, yeah, I think from everything I've seen on the social medias that he's been posting on it seems like he's gotten a good bit of attention.
Would we have been talking about him if were we? I did. By the way, happy birthday to Jim Murphy's wife. But we didn't talk about Jim Murphy this fall a lot, except in regards to the Sparks thing. He did stand up in caucus and throw down. So I do think that there's a value to a backbench House member in getting attention, and I think he definitely accomplished that goal. We'll see what happens. Right?
Yeah.
The guy's not untalented. The guy may have few supporters, but he's got a couple. And then, whenever the Independent wants to write a story dogging Republicans, I bet I know who they call.
Yeah.
We've seen that multiple times. One great way to get attention is dog your colleagues.
Yeah.
Right? John McCain perfected that art of if you want attention, attack your fellow party members. After that, I think Keogh's got a couple priorities. Crime plan in St. Louis.
Yep.
Does he take back local control?
I think he's definitely going to try.
Carla May. Does she take an appointment? Does she sit down? Does she just block it?
That's kind of the loose cannon of the situation is you don't know what Carla May is going to do.
I think there's three things, and this is not just talking to Governor Keogh, it's talking to a cross-section of people. The things I think you're going to hear are going to be, number one, they're going to be crime plan early.
Mm-hmm.
I think you're going to see a school choice bill run. I think this could be the year for school choice. It might be next year.
Mm-hmm.
But I think in these first 2 years, you'll see a significant school choice expansion. Then I think number three, you're going to have to see something on Amendment 3.
Yeah.
And I would say, if I had to guess, that's how session ends. I think you can get a crime plan done without the PQ.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think you can do an HJR to overturn Amendment 3 without a PQ.
No.
So if I had to guess, that comes at the very end of session, and
Yeah. No, I think the crime plan is going to be his focus for as long as it takes him to focus on it. Obviously, if it's going to cost him a bit more than he was expecting, who knows? We could see maybe a little back off. I don't know. I think the crime plan is going to be the number one thing he hits the ground running with.
Here's my question. Let's say I'm not an expert on crime policy and all that, but let's say a crime package he's happy with passes.
Mm-hmm.
My concern would be, can you do anything about
Yeah.
it? Now, Bailey and him together, they say you absolutely can do something about the crime problem in St. Louis. I have to say, I think highly of both of those gentlemen. I just think it's tough.
Yeah.
Have you ever in your life thought, I'm going to go somewhere safe? St. Louis. I'm 44 years old. 44 years old. Never in my life have I thought St. Louis was safe. In 40 years. Now, maybe I was just I'm a country bumpkin, and I'm like the caveman lawyer. The bright lights spook me. I don't understand how you fancy it. But, the truth is, I wonder if Missourians, after this crime, or even St. Louisans, will feel, if you could make people feel safe in St. Louis, what a tremendous thing you do. There's nothing more bigger you could do for the state.
No, yeah.
I love the ambition. I think he's right about the priority. I have to admit, I'm just a little skeptical whether you can actually accomplish it.
No, I think that's the biggest question that needs to be asked is what can the state do that the local government already hasn't done? And I mean, you could easily say the local government hasn't done anything.
Well, I think this. I think you had crime rate, right? Mm. And then you had local control.
Yep.
The crime rate didn't go down with local control. It went up. What did it went up? If you had state control and you had COVID, crime went up everywhere.
Yeah.
Crime rate went up everywhere. I don't think state control would have changed that. Do I think that the local folks can say, we've done such a great job with local control of the police, how could you take it from us? No, I don't think they can look and point to a bunch of successes that could say, how could you take our police department away? We're doing such a great job. I don't think you can make that case.
No, I don't think you can. Yeah.
I also think if you tried to do this in Dexter, they get the guns out and shoot at the state. I mean, no one would. Also, Dexter's not as dangerous, so
No.
It's a complex back and forth. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, it's gonna be an interesting fight to see happen in the legislature.
So we'll keep an eye on. We'll be back tomorrow. Kelton, what do you say about 3?
Yeah, let's do it.
3:00. We'll have. We'll break down what happened over there. Maybe we should do 4. Should we do 4?
Just to be safe.
Yeah, I think maybe 4. We'll post it tomorrow, but there'll be a midweek update for you to come back and watch. We'll break down who voted how. We'll take a listen. We've never heard the Sparks thing's kind of distracted from. There's never been a woman give the address at the beginning of session. Cindy will often be the first woman to do so.
Yeah, that'll be pretty interesting.
John Patterson, first Asian American to do so.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, who knows? Maybe there's a secret one.
But we'll see. It'll be. I'm interested in his speech. I think he'll deliver a very good speech. I hear the Democrats Ashley may withdraw, so he may get a lot of votes. He may get like 157 votes.
Yeah.
But that's something that happens frequently. And then the rally. Well, I think there's going to be a Sparks rally tomorrow.
I think. Yeah.
What time?
No clue.
Got to be before noon, right?
Yeah.
It would be
if it's after the vote.
Yes,
it's
it would
a bit
be
more.
very reminiscent of this entire spectacle if the rally was at like 2.
Yeah.
That would be very much in fitting with the nature and tenor of this campaign. Shout out to Mizzou, congratulations! What a great bowl win by 3. Even though Kelton thought you'd win by 3.5, you did not. Kelton doesn't feel well today, or he would be like, 2.5 was in line when the kickoff started. That is not real.
We've already established this. I've said my piece.
All right, folks. We'll see you tomorrow, and then we'll see you Sunday. Legislative leadership on This Week in Missouri Politics. Look at your email for the Whispering Gallery in the morning.